Yo, what's good my fellow deadheads? Your overlord has returned with yet another Kaiju number 8 video. And guys, I thought about what I said earlier, talking about trying to get all the characters to level 100 and using this week to try and boost the characters so that afterwards I could do showcases for the characters. But then I just realized that didn't really make much sense because the way that Cashapp develops this game, the game could be EOS in 2 years or it could be EOS in 2 weeks. So honestly, we might as well just go out in a blaze of glory and just work on whoever we have worked on, or you do showcases on whoever we have worked on. I remember I did showcases for all the prior characters, or not even showcases, breakdowns more so, but I felt like those videos left a lot to be desired because I was missing the showcase aspect of the video, but I just felt like all the characters that I talked about were not worked on at a point. But no more. We're going to go ahead and just start doing showcases straight up. Nobody cares anymore, man. Like I said, game can be in the service in 2 weeks, game can be in the service in 2 years. Who knows? Until Cashapp fixes the game, there is no guarantee that this will be a long-running game. So while I got these characters worked on, I should be doing content. I should be doing, showcases for these characters. And honestly, I keep talking about how everybody needs to summon for that man Chester and how great he is. So I was like, why not make a video just kind of like showcasing how excellent this man is? Now, this is not going to be like a breakdown video where I spend 40 minutes just talking about each individual little part of the character. More so, I'm just going to talk about all the parts of the character relatively quickly and try to be very concise with my points. And then we'll go into an actual battle and just see how the character performs, just so we can actually have a visual representation of what I'm talking about while we're talking about the character. But if you guys do like these kind of showcases, you can go down below, leave a like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time the Deadman decides to hit the Kaiju glide. And you guys can also comment down below and let me know what you want to know. And by the way, chat, I do not have too many characters worked on to the degree that I have like, Chester or like Sagan or Nadami worked on. So after I get through like the first like 6 or 7 characters, it'll kind of be up to a point where I just ask you guys, who do you want to see next? Because then that can direct my grinding experience. And honestly, you guys can go ahead and suggest some characters down below. Whether I have them worked on or not, I will try to get them worked on as fast as I possibly can and get a showcase out for them. But today, we're going to talk about our boy Chester, so let's just go ahead and get right into it. So first, we're going to take a look at his passives. This man's original passive is going to be it's called Field Command. After activating a combat skill or an ultimate, it applies Field Ops for 1 turn to all other allies. And what Field Ops is that after that ally attacks, it deals additional shot damage equal to 30% of the attacker's attack to the target. So I just want you to pay attention to that wording very specifically, because that is saying that it's going to deal an extra 30% of the person who dealt the attack is going to do 30% of their extra damage. So that's very good because it's based off of your other unit's attacks. And obviously Charles is not the DPS on your team. You're going to have a different DPS. So the DPS is going to be doing really big damage and then have extra additional damage on top. And just a little random caveat, I have checked it before. The additional damage from Reno's ice thing and the additional damage from Chester does stack on top of each other. So I have had turns where I've dealt damage and then I've seen additional ice damage and shot damage as well. So that's very good that it couples like that. Once you get him to level 40, or once you unlock level 40 as a level cap, first move Focus. At the start of the battle, advances this unit's action order by 25%. Now, I don't think he is like one of the top tier fastest units in the game. He could be, but I still think that 4-star Hoshino is maybe faster just because he has the capability of being able to put on the SW2033 swords. But even still, this essentially makes him the second fastest, I think, because he gets 25% next action order priority at the very start of the battle. So he typically does end up going first on the team that I'm running. And maybe if I put him and 4-star Hoshino on the same team, maybe 4-star Hoshino would go before him, but maybe I'll test that out on some of the stages that we're going to run tonight. We have this passive, which unlocks once it gets to level 60. While in Wit Encourage state, this unit's damage dealt is plus 20%. Again, not really a damage dealing unit, but every little bit of extra damage helps, and mine's skills are leveled up to a pretty high extent, as you can see. So mine can deal some damage, but literally the only damage he's dealing is with his basic attack and his follow-up skill. Then we have his passive that he unlocks at level 80. And I just want to say, very nice that the passives unlock at 40, 60, 80. And the original level cap was like 20. I feel like if they would have made it that the last passive unlocks at level 100, that would have been too high. And honestly, they may do something like that later for a premium unit, but like I said, we don't know how long the game is going to last here. So after activating a normal attack, this unit's ultimate gauge plus 20. So this man is like one of the most disgusting ult rushers like in the game probably, because if you think about it, the normal attack giving 20 ult gauge and you only need 300 ultimate to get up the you need 300 ult gauge to do the ultimate. This is 72 plus an additional 20, so his basic skill is giving you nearly 1/3 of your ultimate right there. And you're always going to start off with his SP skill instead. So literally you're gonna do that for 108, and then you're gonna get this for like 92, and then literally that's gonna be 200 turn 200 ultimate gauge right there. So very insane. But before we really crack into his battle skills, I want to go over his ascension first, because his ascension passives are probably better to know before you go over his battle skills, right? His ascension 1 priority, and guys, they do priority like on the wiki, game with wiki for this game, they do like ascension priority levels. I don't really do ascension priority because I'm just like, I feel like you always just want to get the character to 6 stars if you can. If you cannot, obviously, then that sucks. But like, I feel like if you're at the point that you're spending money on the character, I feel like you probably have the means to go up to 6 star if you wanted to. So that's why I don't really do an ascension priority. But his first ascension is going to be ultimate with encourage. While an ally is in field op state, their damage dealt is increased by 30%. So that's absolutely freaking insane. You can see that my Chester is no dupes at all, but yeah, that's ridiculous. You can see here, offensive formation. After activating the ultimate, applies defense penetration rate plus 20% for 2 turns to all allies. So just from the first 2 ascension passes here, you can see that this man just becomes like, this man is already a god tier supporter for any team he's on. But then you have this right here, which just makes him even more disgusting, because all allies get field ops whenever he does his passive procs. Whenever his passive procs, all allies get filled up. So all allies are going to get the additional damage up right there. And then this right here, literally all allies just straight up get defense penetration, is absolutely toxic. Then let's see, normal attack and combat skill get boosted by 2 levels. So this is like normal. Usually characters get a normal attack and combat skill boost right here at this point. Then right here we can see Battle Forged Veteran. After receiving an attack, applies defense plus 20% for 2 turns and damage taken reduction plus 15% for 2 turns to this unit, which is really excellent, because the way that his skills are set up on his hands, on his gloves, you're not going to want to roll HP or defense for him. You're going to want to roll attack, and there's a very specific reason as to why you want to do that. So they're just giving him extra defensive capabilities within his kit to make sure that he is just that much tankier. Then right here, ultimate, passive, and follow-up is going to level up plus 2 as well on versatile operative. What is this one called? Closer's Paragon, versatile operative. Okay. Then number 6, flawless execution. Turn duration of damage dealt buff applied by the ultimate plus 1, and additional damage multiplier caused by passive skill plus 50%. That is absolutely disgusting, because at max, you saw that I have his passive skill at max. That means that it goes from an additional 30% of the unit's attack being done in the attacker's attack being done in shot damage, to 80% of the attacker's extra damage being shot, or extra shot damage being dealt. It turns into 80% extra shot damage being dealt based off of the attacker's attack. So from a 30% to an 80% jump is absolutely massive, and this ascension passive right here boosts his ultimate effect as well. So this effect is going to be absolutely excellent. His ascension is just really insane. Like, honestly, it feels like they don't really waste any spots with the ascension. I feel like the ascension system, though some of the really crazy passives are locked behind the ascension system, I do feel like it is actually worth it when you get duplicates, because leveling up these skills is always going to help, and also just the extra stuff that's built into all the ascension passives, which is always really incredible, man. Really good. Now we're gonna go over and talk about all of his battle skills. So this skill right here is just a basic attack. Is gonna deal shot damage to enemy kaiju, but when you do his basic attack, it does give, let's read this. Cool-headed command. SP cost 1. And it's 108 ult gauge charge that you get on this. The support is applies Wit and Courage for 3 turns to this unit, and then after turn arrives, the turn duration of Wit and Courage goes down by 1. Wit and Courage increases all others allies attack by 30% of this unit's attack upon application. So that is at level 10. I don't know what it would be at level 12, because I don't remember what the percent it went up by each time I leveled it up. But basically, after you get this passive on, you can't stack this passive. So since you use this passive right here, you're gonna basically just be using his basics attack until you can use his ultimate, really. But even when you use his ultimate, like this skill and the ultimate are both gonna be applying the field ops thing. So you're gonna be getting that extra damage out pretty often, I'd say so. But yeah, after you do this, you're just going to be doing the normal attack. So the normal attack does kind of take a little bit of priority on this Manchester, just because that's what you're going to be doing most of the time instead of trying to spam his SP skill. But since his SP skill, you need to kind of like let it cool down every few turns. That means that you do not have to be as SP hungry with this unit versus other units, right? Like with 4-star Hoshina, he's an excellent support, yes, but one, his support is only going to his battle buddy, and also he's SP hungry because you always want to be making sure you're doing his SP skill or his ultimate attack, right? And if you don't have his ultimate attack, you have no choice but to use the SP skill. But he always wants you to use the SP skill so that whenever he goes to the next unit, he can give that resourcefulness in a pinch buff, right? But with this man Chester, there isn't really any SP requirements that are locking down the extra buffs that you give. So that is what gives Chester a little bit of an edge over that man Hoshina. And obviously, if you wanted to use both of them on the same team, you absolutely could and make your DPS look absolutely menacing. But Chester is just a better all-around choice just because of how versatile his kit is. His ultimate is going to be applies damage dealt plus 19.3%, and this is only at level 9. So let's read it at level 10 since I'm almost there anyway. Applies damage dealt plus 20% for 2 turns and crit rate plus 18% for 2 turns to all allies. So we're getting damage dealt and crit rate, very good. And then advances all other allies next action order by 15%. So not only is this man technically not speed, I know, but still action order priority is going to be fire, absolutely excellent, right? Because then I think that action order priority takes more precedence over speed, right? Because if you increase your speed but the enemies are faster than you, the enemies are still faster than you. If you advance your next action order priority, then your next action might just skip ahead of them no matter what the speed is, just because you have next action order priority instead. Does that make sense? I think next action order priority just takes over speed, or I think it beats speed out completely. I pretty much think that there's 2 different levels of speed, and like action order is just like the higher tier of speed, so that one just takes priority. If that makes sense to you guys. Then his follow-up attack is just gonna be basic damage to a kaiju. Does some pretty decent damage for a follow-up attack, and I could be capping. It could be doing the same amount of damage as other follow-up attacks. Let's look at this man. Let's look at this man Nadami, because this is 126%. So Nadami is gonna have only 120%. So this man is at 120% on the 26% on the follow-up attack with just level 8. So follow-up attack is actually pretty strong. But if I gave you a priority to level up his skills in, it is absolutely 100% gonna be the field command one first, just because the extra damage that is gonna be dealt from your allies' attack. So that's just gonna be very powerful, even if your percent is not 30%. As long as the other units are taking advantage of the field ops buff are strong, then they will be able to get some pretty solid damage out no matter what this percent is. But obviously leveling it up is going to give them an even better percentage. Then you're going to want to level up the cool-headed command buff, just because it does give a great buff based on his attack, and it's for 3 turns as well. Yeah, literally, it's just a really good buff, just extra damage. So not only is this giving you extra damage, but on top of this is giving you extra additional damage to your team too. Then you're going to want to level up the ultimate next, because it is just another buff, right? You want to usually with a buff, you want to level up all the skills that directly buff first. After you do all that, then you're going to want to level up the normal attack as well, because the normal attack is what you're going to be using most of the time, and then the follow-up attack can come later on afterwards. But honestly, what I'm probably going to do is just level up his ultimate to the final level, and then probably use the rest of my skill materials on other characters, just because I'm kind of over getting all the skills to level 10 on a character just to make it look good, right? I'm just going to level up the skills that are the most effective for the character. This man, I can't front of you, this name is kind of crazy, chat. I'm going to do my best to say this and not make it sound like crazy, but AR Anolocop. That just doesn't sound so good to me. Anyway, yes, that is his weapon. His weapon is going to be providing extra attack right here, so it's going to be playing very well into his buff that gives the allies extra attack based off of 30% of his attack. You're already buffing his attack right here. Then, after the equipped unit activates normal attack, applies attack plus 25% for 2 turns to this equipped unit as well. So, using his normal attack also is going to be giving him an attack buff, which is also going to be giving what, chat? The team an attack buff. So, his normal attack actually does take a bit of priority, but over the follow-up attack. I think all the other buff skills are still going to be just a lot smarter to work on first. Then after the equipped unit activates their combat skill, applies damage dealt plus 9% for 3 turns to all other allies. So even though the combat skill is already giving field ops and with encourage, which is already buffing the allies, you're also going to be giving them extra damage dealt for 3 turns as well. So for the amount of time that your combat skill lasts, that's how long the damage dealt extra buff is going to last too. So it just honestly makes your combat skill stronger and makes your normal attack way more powerful. And every time you level this up, it seems that the attack stat is going to go up by 3.4%. Usually it goes up by like 0.10, usually it goes up by 10% of what the stat actually is. So this is going to go up by 3.4%. This is going to go by 2.5% every time you level up, and this is going to go up by 0.9% every time you level level it up. So a very, very good weapon for him, just so seamless, right? And you can use other weapons for him. I think that weapon's going to be the best. The other weapons that you could use for him, I feel like, are weapons that you need to pick up from like the Battle Pass or like the Proof of Valor shop or something like that. Proof of Valor shop makes a little bit more sense. Battle Pass does not make a lot of sense because all that money that you would spend to try and get the Battle Pass weapon to A5, it'd probably just get replaced by his weapon instantly once you actually summoned it. So I never really recommend the Battle Pass weapons unless that's really what you want to do. But yeah, you could also use, where is it? AR Hyperion, I guess, still gives him some extra attack. It also gives allies some extra speed at the start of battle, and also applies extra attack to all allies after he does his ultimate. Really, you want to be buffing his own attack, but I mean, it still will suffice. And then another weapon that I can think of is the AR Lynx, because let's see, after the equipped unit activates their normal attack or ultimate, applies damage dealt plus 33.4% to this equipped unit. Not too good, but I mean, his normal attack, this would just make him look better, like, offensively, I guess, but that is not what you're going for with this man, Chester. Yeah, but now let's talk about his unit parts. And after we talk about his unit parts, we can finally get into some stages here, guys. I'm trying to keep a good time in this video and not yap forever, and I think I'm going relatively quickly. You guys can let me know down in the comments, though. For this man's unit parts, I have opted to go with the Wyvern type set just to increase his speed, and also giving him effect resistance. Again, is just going to be something else that makes him a little bit more defensive. Obviously, you want to get up to the 15-star one if you can. I do not have any unit part canisters or any stamina right now to farm them, so we are stuck at the 12-star set effect, unfortunately. But at 15 stars, we would get 10% speed, effect resistance plus 22.4%, and after activating combat skill, applies attack plus 12.4% to all allies for 1 turn, which is really insane because there's already so many different things that are getting boosted from his combat skill, and that just the way his kit works, right? From not only from Wit and Courage, but also from Field Ops. But now we're also just giving a direct attack buff to that as well. So the Wyvern type unit part set is going to be the ultimate set for him. These gloves, you want to have attack on them because of the way that his one of his skills work that gives extra attack to the team based on his attack. You want this to be attack. I am just super unlucky for unit parts and am so desperate that I have to accept the substats that I don't want just to get a 5-star, right? But it is what it is. I'm not going to cry about it. That's another video another time. This one, you want to be an attack piece right here. This one right here, you want to be ultimate gauge charge rate just because you want to keep popping that ultimate up. Then this one right here, you want to be speed because he's, again, going to be doing shot damage, but doesn't really matter. He's not your main DPS, so it doesn't really matter that you do that. In his gear set, I like to have at least a gear set all like 4-star, I feel, or all 5-star, I feel like, before I do a showcase. And I didn't realize that these weren't 5-star, but it is what it is. We're already balls deep in this showcase, so let's go ahead and get to some stages and grind it out. All right, guys, so we're here in the fierce battle area versus Tachikawa base, or at Tachikawa base. So this is the permanent one that they're actually going to be adding some stages to in the next 1 or 2 days. Basically, we are just going to be using this man on a full blunt team, and we're just going to see how impressive he makes the team look. I used to do these showcases in a way where it would be like, okay, we'll use this buffer and then this buffer and see what the difference is. But honestly, I don't like that because all buffers are really good. Yeah, literally, if you think about it, all the buffers, not all of them, but like most of the supports in the game are pretty dang good. And I don't like to stack them up against each other because they all just can work in combo together, literally. Like, they just, if you use more buffers or teamers, you're gonna look even better. So we're gonna let this rock. I am, however, gonna go ahead and do this first because I think that the game would have probably used Kikudu's ultimate first as a priority, but we're gonna do that first. And we're just gonna see how impressive this man's damage makes everybody else's damage look, because we've seen, like, you know, 4-star Hoshina and Mina and Rio all the time, right? So we already have an idea of how good these buffers are making these characters look. But really, we just want to let this man Chester get a few buffs off, and then we're going to see what buffs the team has and just see how impactful he's being for the team, right? So he just used that, which just gave battle routine. So let's see. Let's take a look at everybody right now. So at the moment, we're only 2 turns in. Inherited Resolve is Kikudu's thing. Strength and Resolve is Kikudu's thing. Let's see. So she's getting extra damage dealt right now just from his weapon. Is Strength and not Strength and Resolved. What buff is I'm trying to think. So right now, I guess his gun is the only thing giving the buff because the field ops buff is already gone. The turn already passed where he gave the field ops buff. So everybody already did their additional damage, which I did see the additional damage kind of going on in the background. But we are waiting really for the ultimate here so that we can give them extra crit damage and speed. It was damage dealt and crit rate. I think that's where he's really like his bread and butter right there. Once everybody just starts critting like crazy and getting extra damage dealt, that's when it gets really toxic. But we have already used the combat skill, so he does have wit and courage to himself at the moment, which means that he is giving all other allies attack plus 551.7. That's kind of wild, actually. I didn't know that it would actually show the the number itself, right? I thought it was going to show like a percentage of his attack or something like that, but no, I do like that they actually show the number itself. So everybody's attack is getting boosted by 571 additional on top of whatever they were already getting. So that's really good. And like I said, bro, my Chester's attack is not even like maximized just yet. You saw his main stat roll was HP. Not only can I get an attack percentage roll, but I can also get an attack percentage roll that's orange. So there is a much higher potential for him to give a better buff. And also the rest of his buff skills are not level 10 just yet. We still need to get the ultimate to level 10. I think the other two buff skills are actually level 10. But yeah, we also need to level up the weapon too. So there's a lot of extra headroom. So I feel like we could get this man Chester to a point where he's giving like an additional, what, like 1,000, 1,500 attack or something like that. But it's just like, yeah, nowhere. Honestly, he could be giving an extra 2,000 attack. I feel like this man Chester could be giving everybody an extra 2,000 attack, right? Not even including the extra buff that he gets from his gun whenever he does a normal attack, just from his actual wit and courage passive by itself. I feel like we can get extra 2,000 attack stat to everybody. So it's good to go in and just see stuff like this, even though I don't have him at the maximized level, just because I am going to be working hard to get that attack roll first, because I just want that attack buff to be greater, because I feel like Chester is already relatively quick as a unit, but we'll work on the attack roll first, and then afterwards I'll be trying to work on the how many turns has this been? I would try to work on the, okay, we got crits off, and we got, ooh, my Kaiju number 8 is actually never hit that hard, and I don't use him as often, so maybe I just don't use him enough in enough stages. But no, I would say that was pretty impressive what Chester was doing for the team there, because like, it's like, obviously I know the damage that my team usually does, and I've seen Kaiju number 8 at most hit like maybe like 30, or not 35k, maybe like 50k or something like that, but like, yo, I've never seen him up to like 80k. We're gonna back out action. We're gonna put that man Chester in this game mode instead and see how he performs, or not in this game mode, in this fight, and this half of the fight, and then we're gonna see how he performs. Chat, I guess we can use this moment right here, I guess, as a little comparison, because I say that Rio is like the baby dumbed down version of that man Chester, and you can see that just then on that turn right there, that man Rio actually just did his ultimate, which does give everybody an extra damage dealt increase. But Kaiju number 8 only hit 61k right there versus the 81k that he just hit with that man Chester. Also, missed opportunity with Sagan's ultimate coming right before, or right after Kaiju number 8's ultimate, because she couldn't increase his crit damage by 30%. But even still, the fact that that was needed to even for the damage to be comparable, I think that kind of shows you just how much more that man headroom Chester has, right? But now we are actually here on the second stage, which requires slasher units, and I actually have a team of Chester, 2 slashers, and my Hoshina, and my Nanami, my goats, right? These are actually some of the best units on my account really right now. Then we have Mina here as well, who is really strong against giant kaiju, so I just want to see what she does as well in this. We're gonna go ahead and just let this man rock. He's already got the wit and courage out, so we got field ops going on, so we're gonna get extra shot damage after that. Extra shot damage was just dealt after that attack. There was extra shot damage after the follow-up attack as well. Then after this blast attack, more shot damage as well, based on the unit's attacks. So that's what you can see, the shot damage is really impactful. I love it, man. Then we got his normal attack, which is going to be giving battle routine, which is going to be giving the extra damage dealt. Okay. But yeah, you can just see, man, the damage is pretty solid. We haven't gotten Chester's ultimate off yet, so everybody's not critting like crazy right now. Now, I don't think that Hoshina is going to look any more or less impressive beside this man Chester. Hoshina just kind of goes hard in general, right? I've seen Hoshina hit up to 100k damage before. Now, the stages were not maybe the toughest stage, but let's see how much damage he hits right here. Okay. We did just get that ultimate off, which is excellent. Only 94k, so not quite 100k, but honestly, some of the best damage I've ever seen from that man Hoshina is like 100k, maybe a little over 100k. So Chester is still kind of like keeping that same rhyme and reason to it. He is keeping that damage on that level, and honestly, I feel like they were moving through that phase so fast they didn't really have the time to build up as much, right? So with weaker supporters and weaker characters, you're gonna have more time to build up, and it may look like the weaker supporters and whatnot are better, but that's because sometimes they can get an extra stack out, which can make them momentarily give a better buff. But if the other unit just stacks so high, their buff is like higher, they're gonna get damage out for your team faster, and then you're gonna get through stages faster, and you won't be able to get to see as high of a damage potential, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. We're just gonna go ahead and jump over to the next first battle area. Alright guys, we got this man Chester here, and we actually are using a team with the 4-star Hoshina as well, just because he is a slasher unit as well, and honestly, I just kind of want to double down with these guys and put them together on one team. I just had to have one run like this, you know? I want to see how strong my number 10 uniform Hoshina looks. But even the 4-star Hoshina is just getting some really solid, like, not really solid damage, but I mean, like, all those were crits just now, which I gotta give props. Like, that man Hoshina don't be critting like that. He provides crits for everybody else, and he can get provided crits if you have somebody like Reno on a team or something like that, or you're doing like a cheesy game mode like raid battle. But Hoshina critting himself, I think it's pretty impressive, because I feel like he doesn't have a naturally like innate high crit rate. So that man just did 31k on one of those enemies, and then obviously 17k on the other enemy. It says that the adjacent damage is like half of the main unit's damage, or the main enemy damage, but low-key sometimes it'd be a little higher, a little lower. So we're gonna turn that off, and we're gonna actually save the ultimate for the next room, because I don't want to let it rip on this enemy right here. I feel like that would be quite a waste. So we're gonna do this instead. We're gonna get everybody built up for that next room. We'll do this. Was there really a point in doing that? No, not really. But I mean, it was still pretty good damage. No AoE attack. No, the AoE attack is not necessary. I don't think that Hoshina's skills are actually leveled up too much. We're gonna do this to get the resourcefulness and a pinch buff again. Then we're gonna just do this because it's guaranteed gonna be a critical. That's what it said, but not enough damage. I just don't want to waste these ultimates in this room. I just feel like that would be really inefficient. I want to save all the ultimates for the next room, so we're just gonna do that. We should be able to get rid of the Kaiju right here, though. And, oh, actually, no. We should be able to get another turnout and get Chester's ultimate too for the next room, which is going to be fire. All right, cool. We're stacked out on the ultimates, and now we're going to start using the SP so that we can get the SP lowered again, so that we can try to get that resourcefulness and a pinch buff in the next room a little bit faster. Now we're fighting against the water Kaiju, so let's go ahead and see what is going on with this, how the damage is looking for this stage. This stage is going to be a tiny bit harder than the last stage we're in, just because it is a newer stage. And again, it's like a limited character stage, so it's a little bit harder, because if you have the limited characters, it's not as hard. But yeah, Chester is getting an extra little buff in this stage, I will admit, but even still, it's not like something crazy, I don't think. I can check to make sure it's nothing crazy, but we'll check it after we get out of this stage, and I'll go over it. But yeah, let's see what damage we get all together with these guys. Everybody's got their ultimates loaded up. Let's see how much we can drop on them. So right here, that's not going to be a lot of damage just yet. That one's only 51k, okay. But I held the team back in that last turn there, so they lost a few buffs just because I wanted to save the skills. So the damage is going to get a little bit more formidable. That 5-star Hoshina that's not in the number 10 uniform, he's not really as worked on, so his stuff isn't going to look that impressive, but he is just another slasher unit, so I put him in here because he does work on the requirement. Ooh, that was 41k to one enemy, 22k on the side, and then 22k on the other side, I believe. So very solid damage. I mean, like, we know these units are really good damage dealers, and honestly, this damage could be looking less impressive than the damage that you guys have whenever you're doing your own runs. But I mean, like, hey man, I'm at least putting it out there and just doing the showcase. It's not about me having the highest numbers in my showcase. It's about me just kind of like showing you how the character works with the team, what the character can do for the team. And I know that not every free-to-play player has this man, right? Not everybody's gonna have this man Chester, so it is good to kind of show you guys what you are summoning for, because I do think strongly that Chester is a character that you want to be summoning for. But yeah, we're gonna get the ultimate right here, and then I believe we're gonna be in resonance, because I think we're just out of, like, there's not 3. Ooh, the damage is more than doubled this time. Okay, good. We got the 105 damage that I wanted to see before the video was out. Very good. I would have felt kind of bad if number 10 Hoshina didn't get that damage, but we're gonna go ahead and back out of the mission, guys, and get the next team in here, or get Chester on the next phase. Alright chat, now we are in the second stage of the new Fierce Battle area, the limited one. And this stage was actually, again, designed for the new units, which are going to be Chester and Kikuru. So they are going to look extra impressive in this stage, nonetheless. But still, this stage is actually pretty difficult, just because it does add kind of like a new little gimmick, a new little twist onto it. So you do have to kind of like follow a certain set of rules to get the best results in this fight. So really, if beating this in auto battle with no casualties at all, I think is impressive in his own right. But yeah, we're just gonna test Chester out in this stage and see what he does for the team too, because I have done this before with Chester but without Kikuru, and I kind of struggle with it. But the more blunt units on your team, the better results you're gonna get. But you can see just now right there, actually, when Reno did that attack just now, it just did some ice damage and it did extra shot damage too. So that's what I was talking about, how they can stack on top of each other. You saw Kikuru just did the extra ice damage because of the ice crystals. But yeah, literally the ice and shot damage just stacked together. So just extra damage that you can be getting out, which is always gonna be really good. And honestly, this team synergy is really excellent because Reno freezes, which slows down enemies and also makes them take extra damage. This man Chester can make him take extra damage and also buffs your team in a really crazy way. Then Kikuru also gives debuffs to your team, or gives debuffs to the enemy team as well. I did not mean to leave Sagan up here, but maybe I did because she is a blunt unit who does have a chance to do an AoE attack. That was kind of a wasted ultimate here, but honestly, I'm gonna let that man do his thing. I'm gonna let that man rock out. It is what it is. Because he's not the showcase, you know, grand supreme dude, you know what I'm saying? He is just here to assist the team. I want to make sure nobody wastes their ultimate before the next room, actually. I am going to kind of take control just to be safe. All right, cool. Now we can go on to the next room against this final Kaiju right here. Again, like I said, the auto battle win against this is going to be impressive just because this stage is actually difficult. So if you guys don't know, on this stage, you actually have to deal damage to break the black back plates on this Kaiju so that he can't shoot them off at you when he's ready to do his super move. But you can just see there we did extra damage with the ice crystals from Sagan's ultimate, and also Sagan is going to be increasing everybody's crit damage as well. So that's going to make this look a little bit better too. And I feel like people sleep on Sagan as like a support type of character. And I know that she's not a support, she's a tank, but she does still have attack support that she can provide the team. And doesn't she give defense to the team too? I know for a fact if you get her to A6, she can give a shield to the team. She also can revive herself too, which is really good. But I'm just more so curious how many turns, how fast can my team get through this? Because honestly, once you get the break on the enemy, oh, is he about to shoot the shoulder plates off? I think he's actually just about to do the attack against Sagan, since Sagan is taunting right now, the single target. But if we let him charge up his ultimate all the way, then yes, he is going to be shooting the little shoulder blades off. Okay, cool. So we don't do the shoulder blades, but we almost have him broken here. The counterattack definitely should count towards break. I'm sorry, bro. Like, I will never let that go. I think that the counterattack should absolutely count towards break. Now we have the core exposed. We're going to see some really impressive damage. Let's see. Reno, I just realized that Reno is basically my main damage dealer here because Kikuru is just not worked on to the degree as Reno. So without a crit, he still got the additional shot damage off, which did do up to 25k altogether. So not too bad. Like, that's what that extra shot damage is really for. I feel like when you don't crit with a unit, like, you know, you can still get some decent damage. Oh my gosh, that was pretty solid. And yo, my Reno skills are actually only level like 4 and 5-ish. I think some of them are level 6, but yeah, his skills alone are not that impressive. But when you put, you know, Sagan, give him the crit damage up, and when you put Chester beside him as well, just boosting it up, you can start to see some really impressive things with your team. And guys, this video is still taking a bit of time, so I'm just trying to figure out, I'm still thinking right now, I'm still contemplating, do I actually want to do the what is it called? The long conquest? I don't think I'm gonna do the long conquest stage. I think I'm gonna just stick to doing the fierce battle areas because, like, again, this video is already long enough. I feel like we can do a different type of video for the long conquest stages in their own right. But I think after this stage right here, I will go ahead and end off the video right here. You can see that the team easily broke through the shoulder blades there. Honestly, they broke through it so fast. Honestly, I didn't even notice the turn that they got broken on. And literally, we still have not even gotten the... Now he's growing back his shoulder blades. But like, dude, that took so long for him to grow his shoulder blades back. And not to mention, bro's ultimate is not even charged up, really. It just charged up a little bit because he did that attack, but I mean, we are certainly going to break everything again before this man gets an opportunity to even get the shoulder blade attack off. So this team, I'm sorry, bro. I'm just going to have to give it a big GG. Honestly, we're just going to kill it before we can even get the shoulder blades thing off. And now everybody's just starting to crit like crazy. So, I mean, And Sagan gave everybody extra crit damage as well. So like it's just turning into a better and better situation as time goes on. Chester feels like the longer you're in the fight, honestly, the stronger he gets. I don't know. That's just crazy because usually, you know, over time your units kind of start to atrophy, start to get a little bit weaker. But no, I just feel like this man Chester it feels like he gets better during the duration of the battle. But like, yeah, literally complete auto battle. Did not have to do that myself. Now obviously Kikudu was a very big help to that because she had the defense down and she is the unit meant for this. But Chester is also the unit meant for this too. And I feel like Chester still did a lot for the team and making them a lot stronger because honestly, Sagan's ultimate doing the damage that it did is a result of Chester because he increases your crit rate. So before she gave the crit damage, before she even gave the crit damage to everybody, this man gave extra crit rate, right? So that kind of guarantees everybody's going to be getting crits. Then the crit damage comes right after with Sagan, and then everybody's crits are doing big damage. So they can just set up a comp, Chester and Sagan, who knew they can set up a comp where everybody is just getting high damage crits. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and just end the showcase right there. And again, if you guys did enjoy that, you can go down below, leave a like. You can subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can get notified every time DEADMAN decides to hit the Kaiju glide. And comment down below and let me know what you want to know. I have a few characters in mind that I want to work on for the next few showcases, but you guys definitely feel free to go down below and comment on the video and tell me. But let's also just do one more little overview of Chester and just kind of talk about why he's so incredible. I feel like we can get a little lost in all of the runs that we do and everything, so I always like to kind of come back and just bring it back home, drive it back like, yo, this is why the unit is cracked. First of all, Chester is excellent because his team-wide buff is super impactful, super versatile, right? So, though I think 4-star Hoshina can give a single unit a higher damage potential, I think that this man Chester is just going to be doing more for your team in general, so that gives him the edge over. It's the fact that he gives so much extra damage that he's going to be making your team kill a lot faster, so he won't really have to worry about being protected because the enemies are just going to be dead a lot sooner. Also, he can add a good amount of additional damage at the end of your turns if you can maintain that field ops buff very well. And he's not an SP hungry unit because you just want to use his SP skill at the start of the battle. Then afterwards, you can just use normal attacks, which I say that 4-star Hoshina can get a higher damage potential than this man on a single unit, but you do have to do a lot of management on your SP and make sure that your SP is low, whereas Chester is going to help you make sure that your SP is high and you're still going to be able to get the full benefit of his buffs from his buffs, even no matter where the SP is at. So, guys, that is my thoughts on Chester. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the all-arounder showcase, and hopefully you guys have this man Chester because he is absolutely insane and is absolutely needed for your account. I believe so. But again, if you guys enjoyed the video, you can go down below and do everything that the DEADMAN said before. Remember, the DEADMAN does love you, and we'll be back with something. I'm not sure. A character showcase, a run in large conquest. Who knows? But y'all guys have an excellent night. The DEADMAN is going to do the same thing. Peace.